Ah, Hollywood, you sure love reviving classic movies from the 80s, but does the sequel hold a candle to the original? Stay tuned to find out. Coming to America was directed by Craig Brewer and sees the return of Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, along with an ensemble cast of returning faces and newcomers. The story follows the African monarch Akeem as he learns that he has a long-lost son in America and must return there to meet this unexpected heir and build a relationship with his son. Just to give you guys a heads up, there'll be no spoilers in this review, so I'll keep plot and character details to a minimum. To give you a little context, I'm a huge fan of the original Coming to America movie, and so going into the sequel, my expectations were low to say the least. That's not because of the talent behind the camera or in front of it, but because so few comedy sequels top the original. So is the sequel any good, let alone better than the original? Well, the answer to that question is mixed, I guess. One aspect that this movie does improve on from the first one is in its pacing. From the opening frame up until Akeem returns to America, the story wastes no time in reintroducing us to Zamunda and its characters without the baggage of establishing the mythology that the first movie had to deal with. And in this respect, the movie, certainly during the first act, was mostly enjoyable as the story zips from one scene to the next without much in the way of filler content. I also enjoyed the acting from the main cast, as it was a delight to see Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall return to play the various characters from the first movie. In particular, the jokes that are thrown around during the barbershop scenes practically write themselves, as they allow both Murphy and Hall to flex their comedic chops in the best way possible. Also, seeing the return of the infamous Sexual Chocolate music band, along with Reverend Brown, brought a huge smile to my face. Newcomer Jermaine Flower delivers a good performance as Akeem's son, Lavelle. He brings plenty of charisma to his character and bounces well off Eddie Murphy and the rest of the cast. Unlike some of the other actors in the movie, namely Leslie Jones and Tracy Morgan, Flower is not trying to force the humour out of his character. His performance, along with the script, only provides humour that makes sense for Lavelle, especially whenever he finds himself encountering new challenges in Zamunda. Wesley Snipes was a lot of fun in the role of General Izzy, and he's definitely one of the better aspects of the movie. It was great to see Snipes going against the grain from the action roles that we're used to seeing from him. Instead, Snipes is able to showcase his great sense of comedic timing through his dialogue, as well as bringing a hilarious physicality to his performance every time his character arrives and departs within a scene. If you've seen the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's where the positives end for me, as I found a ton of problems with this movie. The first one being how the sequel retreads the same plot of the first movie, only this time, rather than Akeem travelling to America to find a queen, he travels there to find his son. The biggest crime of the story is not even the familiar plot beats, but how I never got the sense that Lavelle had to fight to win the love of Marimbe. In the original movie, you always felt like Akeem was constantly facing an uphill battle to win over Lisa and for the approval of his parents. Ironically, it's Akeem who gets the most character development in this story. This results in Lavelle not going through a significant journey of any kind, and therefore leads to a lack of empathy in his character. While the movie clearly isn't striving for originality, another big question is whether the comedy lands or not. The answer is unfortunately no. The movie lacks the comedic finesse of the original, as Craig Brewer doesn't seem to know whether to make this story an emotional drama between a father and son, or a straight-up comedy. When all is said and done, the movie doesn't succeed at either. This results in a lot of tonal inconsistency, as there are many scenes that intercut between the drama and comedy, but neither one is able to flourish, as the movie is quick to move on to the next plot point. Even when the jokes do arrive, they never come across in an organic way. The direction of the movie often calls for the actors to deliver their lines in the most humorous, forced way possible, which for me is the worst kind of comedy. This leads to the humour being cringy at the best of times, and looks to be a deliberate choice on the filmmaker's part to cover up the lack of punchlines for the bulk of the jokes. In short, this sequel was enjoyable in parts, mostly for seeing the returning faces of the original. Ultimately, a familiar story, tonal inconsistencies, and a lack of genuine humour results in a movie that adds to the list of serviceable comedy sequels that struggle to live up to the legacy of the original. Overall, I'm going to give Coming to America a 5 out of 10. So I now hand it over to you guys, as I want to find out whether or not you enjoyed Coming to America, and do you think this is better or worse than the original, as I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you're a big fan of movies like myself, then consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, as well as the notification bell to keep up to date with my latest videos. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.